Today, 5 more apps every smartphone user should have. If you haven't seen our first webinar where I did 5 apps that every smartphone user should have, just go to 4kcc.com/webinars with an S on the end. And you can scroll down near the bottom and view that webinar. You should see it if you haven't seen it already. But today we're going to look at 5 more. But first, I want you to know our next webinar is actually only 2 days away because I had to reschedule the first one. And this webinar is going to be called Email 101. And this is going to be Wednesday, October 31st at 10 a.m. And you can register for that by, again, going to 4kcc.com/webinars. And this webinar is, we're going to go back to some very basic things. This is actually going to be the first of a series. I'm going to do Email 101, Email 102, Email 201, Email 202. We're all going back to college, but it's all going to be about email. So I think you'll find them helpful, and I hope that you'll go to the page and sign up for it. And again, I'm sorry it's only 2 days away, but it is on Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you can't attend at that particular time, be sure to sign up anyway. Our next seminar, for those of you that are on Florida's Treasure Coast, that's going to be Saturday, November 10th at 10 a.m. The title is Chris Columbus is Home Alone. And hopefully some of you will figure out where I got that title and why I'm using it. But certainly if you're on the Treasure Coast, we hope that you can join us. Our blog, 4kcc.com/blog. I encourage you to go to the blog. You can sign up if you go under comments so that you can get an email every time that we do a blog. I'm actually doing 2 blogs today. They're already posted. One is about Hallmark, which seems strange for a computer company, but it's Hallmark. And the other one today is Internet Day, International Internet Day. So the 2 blog postings are about that. So I hope that you'll visit. And again, down under comments, you can sign up to get an email whenever we post a blog, which normally I post them Monday through Saturday. All right, next. Now, today's webinar, 5 more apps every smartphone user should have. Now, when I go over the first one, I have to apologize. If you're an Android user, you cannot get this app. It's only available in the Apple Store. However, there's a reason for that, a good reason for Android. The first app is called Investigator, and it's only available on the in the Apple Store. One of the problems with photographs on the iPhone, is that you cannot easily see how big they are, where they were taken, etc. Android users, if you have an Android smartphone, that's already built in, so you don't need this app. But for those of us with iPhones, it could be important to see the size of a picture that you've taken, maybe you want to go back and see when was it taken. There's lots of information, and when I bring the iPhone up, you'll see that because we're going to look at that app. But it's called Investigator, so if you have an iPhone, it's a really handy tool to have, especially if you take a lot of pictures and if you try to share those pictures. It's a great app. So that's the first one. The next one, staying in the picture kind of theme, is PicStitch. PicStitch is an app that allows you to come up with layouts and put more than one picture in a layout. So instead of posting a whole bunch of pictures, one after the other, you might be able to combine them. And some of you who attend our seminars, if you remember before the summer break, I had shared this at the seminar also, but it's such a good app, I just felt I should share it here too. So PicStitch, that's another great app. And again, I'm going to demo all these as soon as I get through them here and just telling you what they are. The Weather Channel app. This is another very good app. It's good for keeping track of not only the weather where you are currently, but like for us, like if you were to look on Joyce's phone on her weather app, you know, she has where the kids in New Jersey live, where the cousins in New Jersey live, where the kids in Texas live, where, you know, I'm from originally, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, different places. And this is a really good app to help you find out what's going on with the weather. So definitely everyone should have this app on their phones. The next app that I recommend is Speed Test by Ookla. And here's what can happen sometimes. You'll be using your phone and you'll be trying to do something on the internet. Maybe you'll be clicking a link and trying to go somewhere, and it seems to take forever. The question is, are you just having a temporary internet issue? Either are you bouncing off a cell tower or are you using Wi-Fi? And so what you can do is you can use this to actually test the speed that your iPhone or Android phone, because it's available in both stores, you can test the speed, your internet speed, and then you can see whether there's an issue with that. Now, if there isn't an issue with that, one of the things that a lot of people don't do with smartphones is they don't close all the apps and they never turn them off. Well, you know, smartphones are no different than computers. They have hard drives in them. They're digital, but, you know, they're solid state, but they have hard drives in them. And every once in a while, you need to reboot or actually turn off your phone and leave it off for a little bit and then turn it back on. Now, sometimes you're forced to do that. Like for instance, the other day, I'm using my iPhone and I went to open my TD Bank app to see what was going on in the bank, and it flashed up on the screen and immediately went away. So I tried it again, it flashed up on the screen and immediately went away. So I wound up turning off, not just restarting the iPhone, but I actually turned it off and let it off for a couple of minutes. Then I started it up, and when it came back, that app and every other app worked just fine. But sometimes if things are really slow and you do a speed test with this app and you find out there's nothing wrong with the speed, then it's a good idea to just shut your phone, iPhone or Android, doesn't matter, shut it off, leave it off for a few minutes, and then start it back up. And that may actually resolve the speed issue. Now, the last app is actually only for you if you're a 4KCC remote technical support customer. And if you're not, you should be. You should call us and sign up. If you are, you should go on your phone and also on the tablet, if you have tablets, and you should search for Bumgar remote support and you should download this app. With Bumgar, different than any remote software we've had before, we can actually help you remotely with your smartphones and with your tablet. Now, we can't do everything like we can on a computer. What we can do is briefly limited. And to be perfectly honest, our software is very new and we actually don't have the technique down yet. We're rehearsing here and practicing here in the shop. So if you do get this, give us about a week or so before you try to log in with it so we know what we're doing. But the great thing is in the past, we couldn't help you if you had a tablet or a smartphone only, but now we can. So those are the 5 apps that you could look at. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to switch over so that you'll be able to see my phone. All right, so here we go. I'm going to share the screen with you. And now I'm going to connect the phone. And you should see it come up here shortly. There it is. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at these 5 apps. We're going to look at these 5 apps right now. So the first thing is, I've told you the first one was called the Investigator. And again, it's only an Apple app. But I'm going to open it right now. You can see the symbol there. So this is the investigator. Now, here's what happens. I'm going to click on a photo here. This is a picture that I took of, let's go to a little better one than that. Oh, here we go. This is a picture that I took of Gus and myself yesterday. I posted it on Facebook and Instagram, if you follow me there. But what investigator does, if you look below the picture, there are some icons. The first one is an I in a circle, which stands for information. Okay, so when I look at that, it tells me the image size. Now this is in pixels. It's 3088 by 2320 pixels. It tells me it's in a JPEG format. It tells me that it's 1.051 megabytes. It gives me the file name. All right, so that's helpful. Like if I was trying to share these pictures, if somebody has a limit on how much that can be shared with them, I would be able to calculate how many pictures I could take at once. Now the next icon is a globe. And when I click on that, what happens here is it shows me approximately where I was when I took the picture. And actually, it might be a little hard to read because I know it's small, but it's saying that I was on Southwest Leafy Road. And that's because I was in our house when I took the picture. So sometimes this is really great for organizing pictures. When you go back later, it's a really kind of a cool thing where you can go back and you may have forgotten where a picture was taken. Like me, I take tons of Florida East Coast Railway pictures. Sometimes when I look at the picture, I'm not sure which crossing I took it at. But by using this and using the map, I can get a pretty good idea of where it was taken. Now the next icon is a clock. So of course, what do you think that's going to tell us? That's going to tell us when it was originally taken, and it will even tell us when it was edited. So for instance, the date saved, that was on October 28th, that was yesterday. It was saved at 12:42, so that's 42 minutes after noon. And then I edited it later last night at 10 o'clock. And it shows me that. So I can see when the picture was originally taken, if I edit it, when it was edited, etc. So it's very helpful information. And finally, the next thing that you see, well, not really finally, the next thing you see is a camera. And when I look on that, it tells me the ISO rating. It tells me the software version, which is 12.0.1, the shutter speed, 1/15 of a second, the aperture, the f-stop was 2.2. It tells me the lens. It tells me that I took it with the front camera. So in essence, it was a selfie. When you take with the front camera and you're in the picture, that's a selfie. It gives me the focal length, and it gives me the camera type, which is an Apple iPhone X or 10. So all the information about what took the picture is right there. And then finally, if I wanted to, I could add a caption. And that's what the little icon is that looks like a bubble, a cartoon bubble where you can talk. I didn't add a caption, but if I wanted to, I could add a caption. All right, and I can share, I can do other things. I can look at metadata. I could edit the metadata. Now, what's metadata? Metadata is exactly the things I was telling you, where it was taken, the time it was taken, etc., the information. I could edit that if I wanted to, but generally speaking, I would suggest you don't edit it. Usually the only people that edit is when they're trying to hide something. They don't want somebody to know they were someplace at a certain time and they want to change all that information. But the metadata is all those menus I just showed you, where it was taken, when it was taken, captions, etc. And of course, I could share this information with someone if I wanted to. So that's the investigator. Now, again, if you're an Android user, the thing about it is you don't need the investigator because all that information is actually available on the Android phones. Only some older ones might not have it, but anything newer has it on the Android phone. And you can get that by going into photos and clicking on the photo, and there's a place to check all that information. If somebody needs to know that, you can send me an email and I will send you the information in writing how to find that. But because of that, you don't need the Investigator. All right. The next app that we talked about was PicStitch. Again, it's a photo, and I have that right here. You can see it on the screen. It's at the bottom in the middle. So I'm going to open that, and when you open that, the first thing that it does, aside from maybe later asking you to rate it, it doesn't always do that, by the way, just every so often they'll ask you to rate the app. It gives you layouts. It gives you, it has classic, it has fancy. You can see all the kind of weird things you can do. And so what you do is I'm going to pick a layout. I'm going to pick just 4 squares and make it easy. All right, so there's the 4 squares. They're all kind of even. So I can click on any square and it will ask me to pick the photos that I want. And I don't have to pick just 1 photo at a time. Okay, I can pick 4. So I'm going to go down here, these pictures of Gus, and I'm going to pick 4 of those pictures. I don't know how different they'll be, but I'm going to pick 4 of them. And you can see at the bottom, it shows the 4. If I made a mistake, I could hit the little negative at the bottom and get rid of that one and add another one. In fact, I'm going to do that just for the fun of it, because these two look kind of similar. So I'm going to get rid of the one and I'll add this one. So now I have 4 photos. Up in the upper right-hand corner, I click on Done. Now I have my layout and I have my 4 photos at the bottom. I now take 1 photo and I can drag it to whatever box I want. And first it will show me the full image. And if I wanted to, I can crop it. I can enhance it. I can put effects on it. I can do all kinds of things. I can adjust the brightness, the contrast, whatever I want to do, I can do right here. But just for now, because that could almost be another webinar all by itself, I'm just going to click Done in the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see that it put the picture in the square that I chose. But we're not done. I can put my finger on the picture and I can move it. Now, there are certain limitations based on the size of the picture. For instance, I can move Gus up and down here, but because of the way the picture is cropped, I can't move him left and right. So I'll choose that. Now you'll see at the bottom, the picture that I used now went all the way to the right. So I know that the 3 other pictures I haven't used yet. So I'm going to pick another one and I'm going to drag it to a different box. I'll pick that one. And again, it comes up and gives me the full option. Just for the fun of it, I'm going to crop this one a little bit just to see what happens. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say crop. I'm going to click apply. Now I'm going to click done. And again, I can move it up and down, but because of the way the picture is, I can't move it left and right. Now, sometimes you can, but that all takes practice. So now I'm going to bring up the next picture and I'm going to put that. Again, it comes up. I could edit here if I wanted, but I'm not going to. And I can move this up and down. And the last picture is Gus and myself. And I'm going to put that in the corner. And there it is. Now, if you look on the blocks, you can see that there's a little pen on each one of those. If I decided that I needed to go back to the editor, I can click on that pencil and it brings me back to edit that particular photo. All right, so now I've got these 4 photos. At the bottom, I have some more options. I can, if I hit resize, it will let me move the grid. See what that's doing? And I could move the grid one way or the other, and then I could go back and rearrange the pictures. And then I just click on resize again and it goes back. So I have all kinds of options. Now, when I'm done, I click at the bottom where it says export. I could send it right to Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, but what I normally do, I don't like to do that. I take it right to the photo album where you see it says photo album, and then it puts it in the photo album. So now if I close PicStitch and go to my photo album, here it is. So that's the one that I just did in PicStitch, and I saved it in my photo album. Now, if I wanted to put it on Instagram or do something like that, I could definitely do that. So I use PicStitch a lot for different photos when I want to put similar ones together. So there's just all kinds of stuff you can do with it. It's a great photo app, and it is available both in the iPhone, in the Apple Store and in Google Play. So you can get it for both apps. All right, the third app that I said everybody should have is the Weather Channel. So I'll go in that and open that, and here's the Weather Channel. Now, let me tell you about a lot of apps. All right, this app, you can see it has an ad. If you look, it says it's flu season and we've got you covered, CVS. All right, if I want to get rid of the ads, I can buy the app. All right, for me, I don't mind the ads. So, on this particular app, I haven't bought it, and so the ads are there. But if you don't like ads, you could buy it, and it's not expensive. I don't remember exactly what this one is, $2.99 or $1.99 or $3.99 or something, but you could get rid of the ads if you want. But anyway, when this comes up, here's Port St. Lucie, tells me what the temperature is, tells me it's sunny, what the high is going to be, winds. You can see a graph of the morning, afternoon, evening, and overnight. And then there's also a box that says latest news, and that will change from time to time and show you different things. At the bottom, I could click on hourly, and I can look at the hourly situation, the condensation, the temperature, all that kind of stuff. I can look at daily at the bottom, and it will show me daily. I could look at radar by clicking on that, and hopefully we don't see anything on the radar right now. Let's just see, it's moving along. I don't see any rain, that's good. All right, and then I could go to video if I wanted, and there'll be videos, different thing, latest news, weather, etc. All right, so I can go back to the middle one, which is the home, the Weather Channel, and now I'm back on the original page. Up in the upper left-hand corner, there's the little cogged wheel, which is, as you probably know, settings. And there's your option to remove ads, which means buy it. You can change different things that you want, all kinds of stuff in here under settings. And then the other thing you can do is if you click on, let me go back because I did that too fast. See where it says getting your weather data for Port St. Lucie? If I click on Port St. Lucie, now it brings up other cities that I have put in. For instance, my hometown of Harrisburg. And then you see a couple in New Jersey, New York, in case Joyce and I decide to run off and see a Broadway show. We want to know what the weather's going to be. And if we're going to go to Austin to see our kids there, all that is right there. If I click on the particular city, for instance, Austin, now I see Austin as the main instead of Port St. Lucie. So again, it shows me what's happening in Austin. And as you see, it actually is going to be cooler here tonight than it's going to be in Austin, I believe, if I read that correctly. And again, you can see next sunset, all these things change as you use the app. So it's another really great app to use. So that's the Weather Channel. The next one is a speed test by Ookla, which I mentioned earlier. Now, let's see if I can find where I put that. There it is. It's at the top corner there, speed test. So I'm going to open that. This one's pretty simple. They did an update, of course, so I have to go through all that. Okay, so here we are. It's ready and it says go. So I can click on that. It's connecting. It's going to go to a server that Comcast has in Miami, and it is showing us the speed test for Wi-Fi on the phone. So let's see what it gets to. All right, so the download speed was 24.8. The upload speed is almost as fast. okay, that's actually a little unusual. Usually download speed is 2 to 3 times faster than the upload. So if I were to look at that, I might say, uh-oh, maybe I have a Wi-Fi problem here in the house. Or maybe my phone needs to be shut down for a few minutes and started back up again. So, but that would be a quick, easy thing to see what is happening there. Now, they also have ads, as you can see, but again, I just ignore those because I don't use this real often, but every once in a while I will use it. All right, so we'll get rid of that now. And then the last one is the BOMGAR. If you're a remote technical support customer, you can use this to log into us. However, you can only log into us when you've talked to us on the phone and we give you a session key. Unlike on the computers where you can log in on your own because we put an icon on your desktop, you have to log in first at our login site, which is support.4kcc.com. That doesn't change. And then you would get on the phone with us and you would ask for a session key. And we would give you a session key and then you would log into us from your smartphone or your tablet. And again, we can't do everything that we can do on computers, but we can do some things to help you. And again, we're just learning this. So, you know, you can go get this app, but don't call us yet for a support key. Give us about a week or so that we feel comfortable with it, and we'll be happy to help you. All right, so those are the 5 apps that I wanted to go over today. Hopefully you learned a little something there. I know it was kind of quick. Joyce, do we have any questions?
There is a question about sending the pictures by email. Is it too much? Are they too large? Or because I'm assuming that the question is, does this convert to sending them to through email?
Well, generally speaking, if you're sending, that's one of the reasons on the iPhone that you want the Investigator, because it will show you the size of the picture. And of course, on the Android, you can also get the size. Most email programs now will allow 10 megabytes to be sent. So for instance, that one I showed was 1 point something megabytes. So I might be able to send 8 of that same size or similar size pictures in one email and not have an issue. But generally speaking, as a rule, never try to send attachments more than 10 megabytes. Now, there are some sites, some email servers that will allow you to go to 20 now. But, you know, you would have to know specifically who that is and whether it's allowed. So that's one of the reasons that you want to be able to look at the size of the picture and figure out whether it's worth, you know, how many you can send in an email. So I hope I've answered that question. Were there any others? All right, well, I want to thank everyone for attending today. I hope you learned a little something, and don't forget to sign up for Wednesdays also. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. Bye now.